The Truth with Gwen, Azama-Edwards.
Can you drop it by my mailbox? Hey, Nancy, can you drop this key by my mailbox?
I'm going to run to
Where's
the
your
ladies'
mailbox?
room.
In
I'm
front
going
of
to
my
run to the
house.
ladies'
Yeah.
room. Okay.
It's right there on the column. You'll see it.
You don't have your key, what?
No.
Yeah, I'll drop it in.
Man, you've been sitting much too long, much too long. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Truth, the radio program designed with you in mind, a program whose sole purpose is to empower you, the listener, for information leads to knowledge, and knowledge is
No, not now.
power. And as always, I want to empower you to take control of your life, those things that impact you, your family, and your community. As always, too, I want you to go to the website at www.gwen-truth.com so you can access all of the resource listings that will link you to the information you need to make you what? All powerful. That's links to your municipalities, your county agencies, state agencies, federal agencies, and advocacy groups. Also, go to the website so you can answer and respond to the survey that we have on the website.
I just got to do this for a minute. See that?
Which will ask you the question, or if you are in agreement with the Supreme Court ruling in regards to health care, what others refer to as Obamacare. Okay? Who am I? As has been stated, I'm Gwen Azama-Edwards, former city commissioner, retired city clerk, city of Daytona Beach, and current president and CEO of AE Enterprises, Inc., a consulting firm on politics and ethics. Thank you, Big. We have as guests tonight, very quickly, an individual who will be in a runoff in November, as will so many. We'll go through a little bit of that, but she will be in a runoff in November, and that, of course, is Nancy Epps, and we're going to give her a few minutes just to say some things to the listening audience. As she prepares to go to Bel Air Group. Did you go there yet, or you're waiting to go?
On the way.
Okay, all right. Okay, again, this is Nancy Epps, who is a candidate in the runoff in November for District 2, right?
Right.
Volusia County Council. And we want to give Nancy an opportunity just to say a few things to our listening audience.
Well, I want to thank everyone who voted in the early voting, the absentees, and the primary. It was a pretty good turnout, I think, 24%, a little bit more than 24% actually. So needless to say, we hope that it's much higher than that for the general, and I'm sure
it will be. Yes. I just hope you don't get lost in the process of everything that's going to be on there.
Exactly.
What do they have right now? They have 12 ballot initiatives. They have all of the offices that were not decided, and very few were decided in the primary election. And I don't know how many sides, too, or ballot parts they will have. I'm sure they'll have at least a front and a back, and depending upon where you reside, you know, of course, they should pretty much be all the same at this point, because all of the partisan offices have been decided, and there will be Republicans running against Democrats and the like, and then the nonpartisan offices that were not yet decided. All of those will be on the ballot as well. So you should all have basically the same ballot issues, with the exception of course, your municipalities. Everyone will have from the county level up, and then your municipalities will have differing either ballot issues or officials that will be running for office. How do you feel good then about the primary results? And you know, I'm sure you were outspent, weren't you? Pretty much?
Gosh, yes. That's an understatement.
I know, I was just going to say that's an understatement, of course. So actually, when you think about it, you did really fairly well, given that. And given the fact, too, that I know there were a lot of paid staff on the other side, but you had friends and others who were out there supporting you and working with you. And,
right.
And so you were kind of outsourced and outspent.
Outmanned.
Yeah, but still to be able to come in, what was it, around 30 something?
You know, it changed often enough that I the final numbers, I believe, were 36+% for me,
close to
and
37.
about 44% for Mr. Wagner, and 18.4% for Mr. Ellie.
Okay.
So, needless to say, I'm counting on having a good turnout in the general for with just 2 people now, you know, to have that gap closed.
Absolutely. And as the newspapers and the media keep saying, this is our return of and a repeat of the face-off that you guys had the last time you ran, where you came close, and it was how many, 77 or
67?
67.
For some reason the news journal keeps printing 77, but it was actually 67. So it was very, very close. Out of over 36,000 votes, that was about as close as you can get.
You know, we're going to talk about this in a few minutes, but before you leave, what was to you the one of the most remarkable differences in this election cycle and the election cycle of the past? Because I think there were some grave and great differences between them. And what stands out most in your mind concerning, you know, this primary election that you've just gone through? So the thing that just, I almost feel like saying the thing that rattled you the most, number one, and then the thing that stood out to you in terms of that election process for the primary.
Well, this time there were only 3 of us in the primary, whereas 4 years ago there were 6. So the partisan support was more evenly divided, I guess you could say, this year than it was 4 years ago, because there was more than one candidate of the Republican Party persuasion that 4 years ago. And this time it was a Republican, a Democrat, and an NPA. So
which you are.
I am the NPA.
Right.
So yeah, that was a concern for me, of course, that one or the other party would overshadow my capabilities just because of the partisan support. So I'm glad to have that phase over with, needless to say. And now it's just up to the voters to listen to the issues.
Well, would you not say, though, because one of the things that I saw and felt during the elections, even the nonpartisan races, is that there was a lot of partisanship.
There was, yes.
And it will continue.
It will.
Through the November, and probably even more so through the November.
It just won't be quite as split as it was this past time, because I believe my
Everybody
percentage would have been a lot higher otherwise.
Right. Okay. And the most remarkable, other than that, in terms of fewer candidates, what was the most lasting impression that you have, that you carry with you from the primary election?
Well, there was a lot of camaraderie, actually. You know, even the candidates who were opposing each other weren't really too vicious. not in my race, anyway, now. Other races, I think, were a little different, but in my race, anyway. And, of course, at the early voting, you're all out there like you're practically in a refugee camp or something, you know, with your canopies and your
like
food
a
your
tag
coolers.
dogs almost.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you spend a lot of time talking to other candidates. And the early voting is really where I believe the voters have an opportunity to communicate with the candidates the most, because we are out there all day for 10 days or however long, you know, this year. And on election day, you're everywhere, as you know. I had 22 precincts, I believe, to cover, so I wasn't in any one place very long, and just the numbers of people showing up at any given time are greater also. So you really don't have a chance to talk to anyone like you do at the early voting. So I encourage people to take that into consideration. Even if you don't vote that way, you might want to just come and talk to the candidate. Or, of course, call us, you know, go to our websites. My website is electnancyepps.com.
Wonderful. And of course, they're now able to start giving money again, right? Yes, and how can they contribute?
I do have a donation link on my webpage, which is PayPal. So it'll take you right to that, or else my address, of course, is there. The campaign address is on the website. So I encourage people to look there. If I say it now, nobody will remember it, so they might as well just look.
And actually, if they put a search in, and if they have internet access, just put in Nancy Epps, and that should pop up somewhere.
It should, yes.
Yes. And
I also have a Facebook page, by the way.
Okay. So there will be a repeat for all of those who may have complained about early voting and how close everything was to whatever. There will be a repeat, and As a result, those of you who don't want to go through that, oh gosh, what would I call it, you know, if you don't want to go through all of that, you know, that happened during the early voting, because I did hear some people, I'm sure you did too, complaining about, you know, the candidates being so close.
Right.
And unless they change the total policy where even if one was not as close as they were, somebody else would be there. So the policy
Right.
would have to change. But remember to vote absentee ballot, or you can do early voting, or you can wait and go to your precinct and vote. And it seemed to be almost, I don't know, maybe almost a little bit evenly split. And a lot of that. Closing comment, because I know you want to rush on over to Bel Air Community Group, who will have, what I gather, Lentz and Traeger there,
Right.
sharing their ideas with those who are in attendance. And so to allow you to go ahead and share your closing comments with our listening audience.
Well, I do encourage everybody to do their homework and become an educated voter. That's the real crux of our republic, is having people elect representatives who they believe in because they know something about them. And the number of signs someone has, or the size of the signs, or quite frankly how much money they've had donated to them is not really a good indicator. I think our county council chair race was an eye-opener in that regard, that, you know, Mr. Davis hardly has any money, but he still is in the top two now for the runoff.
Rallied the troops, so to speak.
Yes, exactly.
As a veteran.
I think that's something people really need to consider, is don't let those issues sway you. You really are going to be living with this person for the next 4 years as your representative. Who do you think has spent the most time in the community? Who's been working on the issues that are important to you? Who has spent the most time out of their life, basically, helping people? And if you do the research, you should have a pretty good opportunity to make a wise decision.
And if you have a chance to get to any of the forums, please, please, please go to the forums.
Yes.
Because one of the things I heard someone say, that it wasn't just what they said and how they responded to the questions, it was also body language and everything else. You can learn a lot about a person when you see what and watch what they're doing when they don't think you're watching. And some of this stuff, you know, when a person, candidate comes before you, is how they have been actually trained to respond to you. But when they have those relaxed moments, that's when you see the real person. So thank you, Nancy,
Thank you for the
coming
opportunity,
on.
and I really appreciate it.
And as you move forward, you know, we're going to have more of the candidates coming on, and hopefully I'll be able to get you back again as well.
I would love it.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
Have
you.
a great evening. Good to
Okay,
see you.
you too. Take care. Okay, again, that was Nancy Epson. She's running for District 2 for the County Council, Volusia County Council. And as we had mentioned, there were a handful of races that were decided in the primary election that just occurred August 14th. I know you've heard about those, but you know, you would be amazed at the number of people who do not get the news journal, who do not listen to the radio, who do not watch TV, and really are not quite sure what the results were. So, there's still some people too, Pastor Larry, who don't understand the process, and did not understand, as with the primary, that a lot of offices could have been decided at the primary, and you would not have had an opportunity to weigh in on that through your vote had you not voted in the primary. And the percentage that Nancy has shared, about 25%, somewhere in there, is basically the percentage of people who did show up. Now, as great as that sounds compared to in the past, where it's been, you know, anywhere from the 10 to 15% or less than 20%, it is an improvement, but you're talking about 1/4 of the people deciding for 100% of the other 75% of the people as to who their representatives will be. And I can tell you, as an individual who is no longer part of this electoral and election process, because I came in third, unfortunately, but the number of people who said to me when I was doing the door knock and the like, and said this, Pastor Larry, this is Larry Edwards, pastor of St. John Missionary Baptist Church Incorporated, and also my hubby, but who said to me proudly, you know, I don't vote. And you know, because we live in America, you have a right to vote or not vote. But when you think about those who have died, those who've given their lives to allow the women to have the right